Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another session from Bangalore Open Source Java User Group. As you all know, we are at the end of memory management related session. We had a great series of talk from Vaibhav, and I personally thank to Vaibhav because this JSON parser that I started as an experimental activity, which I wanted to use it for teaching purpose, but I could see that I can make a lot of progress with all that Vaibhav taught in that sessions. So I'm going to just give us very small changes today because we have done most of the changes. We will not try to do all the changes from that memory management talk, but whatever is applicable to JSON parsing, whatever that I learned, I try to apply it. That is the whole idea. Okay, just to give a small hint about JSON parser, which just for those who did not attend the previous things. So we are trying to create our own JSON parser, which we want to make it memory optimized. So if you see, we already had a few sessions where we set our test cases right first, so that the test cases will measure the memory size against most popular libraries, and it will put the measurements here, as you see in the screen. So now there are two sides. So one side, we will first talk about memory management, which is the whole agenda for this series of talks. And sometime later, we will have a concurrency, parallelism kind of talks, series of talks from Vaibhav again. At that point in time, we'll look at performance. But as we discussed already, optimizing memory is a first step to go towards performance, because when you optimize memory, naturally you will get a performance benefit. So whatever comes naturally, we will take it. But otherwise, our whole priority is the left-hand part. That is, the memory is what we are very much interested at. And in that, today we will see some of the optimization that we can do. Okay, we will start with the changes that I did recently. I made some changes related to quality gates, which Priya will cover after this. Basically, quality gates is to make sure that when you work on a serious projects, like I started as an hobby, and earlier I just wanted to try it out, but now I think that this is something that I can contribute to open source. So I want to make it as a professional software. So there are a lot of quality gates that we will add. She added many. So I incorporated quality gates such as check style, code coverage, sonar lint, and all those stuff. So that's a change that I did. That's why there are some changes. But one observation that I found after I implemented these quality gates is that I can see a performance benefit without me doing anything specific. I can see the memory optimized. It was asking me to put every constant as a static variable. I don't know what is happening behind the screen, but once I put the static variables for all the constants that I was using, I can see some improvement in the memory. So now coming to the implementation side, till last time that you saw, we were focusing mostly on read methods. Read method is when you are giving a reader, basically a file stream, and we will create an object. It might be a map, it might be a list. That is what we will create. And additionally, I implemented a write method here. So this is the new implementation where, apart from reading, I can actually write. If you are giving a map, then I will create a JSON string out of that map. That also I have written. That's one change that I did. Apart from that, I made some changes to the collections. In fact, myself and so we had some discussions on whether we need to implement collections for JSON or we can use the existing one. So same like any other session, in between, if you have any doubts, any issues, stop me, ask me the questions, I'll clarify and move. And also I'm just giving this beginning itself. So this is an experimental work. So I'm sharing the work that I did. So maybe I may be wrong in most of the times. I may be right in some of the time. So you are free to ask questions, raise the issues. Okay. So first we will take it one by one. Now I have written a write method. So my whole idea is I'm actually having a string buffer, because you know string is an immutable thing. Every time I create it, right? So I'm going to read this object and then create it. It is going to create a new string every time, right? I want to avoid that. So I'm going to use a dynamic string. So I started using string buffer. So the corresponding test cases, we just have one, not that code review test. We have a test case for write. So this is a write test case. So this will check the logic behind this new test cases. It will, if you give a JSON map, from the JSON map, from Jackson, it will create a JSON node. And again, it will create a JSON text out of our implementation. And with that, it will create a JSON tree, which is another Jackson node. So it will compare both. It should be equal. That's the test case. So the test cases are passing here. So that we need to make sure first before you go to performance and all those stuff. Make sure it works. Okay, it works. Okay. Now let us get into the memory optimization. Now, anybody can point out there is some mistake that I did here. This is one of the most popular interview questions in Java. So in order to use dynamic string, I I took a good practice. That is, I'm not using string directly. I'm using string buffer. Is there anything that I can improve here? Anybody?
You can use string builder.
Very good. Why?
They're not synchronized, so performance will be good.
Exactly. We need to take it by case by case. In this case, this is going to be executed by single thread only. So there is no need to use buffer because buffer is for synchronization. As she told, it's for synchronization. Good job. Yeah. So now nothing implementation wise, nothing we changed. We'll just execute the test case again. It should work. So this is the advantage of using TDD. Write all your test cases pixel perfect so that you can change your implementation left, right, top, bottom. Okay, good. Okay, now that is done. Okay. Now the second thing, we will go to the collection related items that we did. Now, if you look at it, every time that you create a collection, so first thing, what are all the collection that we will use? We already discussed this. What is the natural representation of JSON in Java? JSON object. What is the natural implementation in Java? Natural representation in Java? Map. Exactly. Yes, map. Okay. Now, what about JSON array?
List would be good.
List or set?
Set.
Anybody? List or set?
I think set.
Okay. Why set?
Because it will not take as a duplicate.
But in JSON, duplicates are allowed. In JSON array, you can give duplicates, right? For example, let us take any JSON stuff. Basic. Oh, basic is not basic again. I need to make. Okay. Now I can give. See here, I can give another 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not going to complain.
There will not be any duplicates in the key instead.
But set JSON array we are talking about, right?
Yeah, yes.
JSON arrays representation. Is it a set or list? So it's not set. It will allow duplicates. More than that, it is basically ordered, right? 1, 2, 3. So list is ordered and list allows duplicates also. So in that case, we'll consider list is a natural representation. And that's why we did. In fact, this read method that you see, it is going to return map whenever it is JSON object, or it is going to give a list, array list, I think so, whenever you give JSON array. Okay, but small thing. As a long-term Java developer, one of the items that I'm disappointed with myself and my friends whenever they do their work is, whenever we talk about collection, right, we are very limited with the collection options that we have. List means we will use array list. Map means we will use hash map. Hope everybody agrees. Okay, but there are plenty of implementations. Each implementation has its own specific advantages, disadvantages. In fact, as I told in the last time, there is a person called Ramachandran. In fact, he is an eye opener for me in terms towards collections. He has very limited videos. All his videos at least are 5 years old. I don't know why he is not putting recent videos now, but his videos are too good to understand collection. In fact, most of the point that I'm telling here, this is all something that I learned from him. Okay, now, so Java provides a lot of implementation, but it also encourage you to create your own implementation. Today, we will debate and find whether we need to implement our own collection or not. The implementation, I will do it later because it's more specific to performance, but I will give you the idea behind why I am trying to do so. Okay, so now we have decided that, okay, for JSON object, we are going to use map. For JSON array, we are going to use a list. Okay, now let us look at the current implementation.
Satish,
yes.
Sorry to interrupt. Yeah, so you were making a statement about string builder versus what is the other one? String buffer, right?
Yes.
So you said this is going to be a single thread execution. That's why we can use non-thread safe string builder, correct?
Thread safe means you need to use string buffer. If it's going to be single thread, you use string builder. That is enough.
Yeah. So I would say I have a comment like that might not be the correct statement. You can use this non-thread safe string buffer or builder because the function is a pure function. You are not going to mutate anything. That's why you can use non-synchronized version. You can still, the code could be run with multiple thread. So it is a pure function. That's why you are free to use a non-synchronized version.
Yeah, correct. Yeah, you are correct. Actually, there it doesn't make any difference because we don't concurrently modify anything. You make yeah, you are correct actually. But the purpose is string builder is sufficient. That's why we need to use string builder. In case string builder is not sufficient, then only we need to go to string buffer. That's the idea.
Yeah. just about the choice. I mean,
Yes,
you
yes,
are free to
you're
use
correct.
that.
You're absolutely right. Yes, yeah. So now where did we stop? Okay, a list and map. Okay, fine. So now we decided that okay, get object is going to be a map, get array is going to be a list. That's why we are going to use it. Okay, but now before you go to convenience method, we all know recently Java added lot of convenience methods in collection. In fact, Vibo took a session. Okay, so this convenient method, whenever we talk about this convenient method, right, we all say, okay, convenient method means instead of writing lot of lines of code, it will give you single line. Instead of giving new array list, you can give array list collection.empty list, collection.empty set, or list.off, list.map.entries. So these are all convenient methods. But is the convenient methods just about writing less lines of code? Yes and no. We will see that why. Okay. So now, whether Java supports dynamic arrays. Does Java supports dynamic array? An array which can be expanded at will. Do you support it? Java?
Yes, array list.
Okay. I'm not talking about array list. I'm talking about arrays. Just array.
No, it
No.
doesn't.
It doesn't, right?
Yeah.
Very good. Okay. So see, under the hood, there are certain limitations that we need to understand. Okay. So this list is an extended data structure, which gives you something like you can extend it, but actually it is not extending. We will see that later. But bottom line, Java does not support dynamic arrays. Vibo, correct me if I'm wrong. Okay, if I'm making some wrong statement. But as much as I said, I read Java doesn't support dynamic arrays. One. Point number two. What about maps? Maps are hierarchical structure, right? What is the natural representation of map in just C programming or plain Java programming? Do we support map in the native way?
No.
No. So
It is a way of keeping the things just we using a linked list or we use the tree or whatever. But it is internally it is linked list or a list only.
Okay. So Ramkumar raised Ramkumar, please, you can unmute and speak. You don't need to just wait for it.
No, sorry, it was for the previous comment. I forgot to.
Okay, no problem. Okay. Now, behind the screen, it's only arrays. Okay, how you represent that? So basically, map is a virtual kind of a structure. It's not really. Inside, there is a table. The table is basically an array. So every time you open a hash map, let us just see it, open it and then see. Okay, let us see, is there anywhere that I can use? I used hash map, right? Let us see what is that hash map contains. If you look at hash map, there is something called table. Hey, where is the table? Yeah, see here. So it is basically an array that contains your key value pair, and you manipulate that. It looks like no tree, okay, but it is not tree. Okay, now let us just keep these two factors first. Now let us see what is that collection is doing. Okay, now what will the collection do is by default, every time you create something, it will create an array for you, and then based on the need, it will keep adding, removing, and all the stuff. This bottom line puts us into one specific items which most of the time we don't use. Okay. Now, whether it is string builder or whatever it is, I give that parameter called capacity. Now, tell me what is that capacity means to this dynamic array kind of a behavior.
The number of element it can have in the initial, like the
Okay.
memory it is assigned to when you create an object at the creation initialization, it will give you 10 byte of memory like that.
10 array elements. Okay, in this builder, it is 10 bytes basically. But basically, array kind of a thing, everything that you keep, right, they are going to be put inside an array only, whether it is a list or map, whatever it is, there is an array behind the screen. Okay. Now, the implementation should decide what is the initial size. By default, it will have some assumptions. Maybe I think in hash map way, it is 32. Capacity is 32, if I'm not wrong. For array list, I think it is 32 or 16. I'm not sure. Okay. That vary. But you as a developer, it is always a good practice to give this capacity as an initial parameter. For example, whenever you define a hash map, new hash map, it will allow giving a capacity. You can give the capacity, initial capacity. Okay, it's always a good practice that every Java tutor will keep saying, give the capacity always, give the capacity always. But we all know, we all are lazy developers. Most of the time, we will not give that. Now let us look at our convenience method. Now tell me what happens behind the screen of this convenience method. Is it just that number of lines that it saves, or it is doing something It can do something other than that.
It is creating a list of 2 elements only.
Correct. So now by the time you execute this method knows that I am going to have only 2 methods. So the capacity itself, it will put us to immutable collections it will create. Okay. Now if you open it, size it will create as 2. Okay. So you can see the implementation, but one thing that we need to understand is the more that you use convenient methods, it is not just about reducing number of lines of code. Java takes certain inputs from the way that you call that function. It can make some decisions so that it gets a memory optimized collections. Because of that only, if you look at it, in our case, when you get an object, we will call a collection.unmodifiable map, because there are 2 things that you are giving a hint here. Point number 1, first hint that you are giving an input as a map, which means the current map size is equal to the target map size. So it can put the initial capacity as it is. So that is one advantage. Point number 2, when you create itself, you are saying your intent is creating an unmodifiable map. So it will create an unmodifiable map where your read operations alone supported, write operation is not supported. So it is highly optimized only for read only. It will have a better performance improvement also. So that is all about convenient method. Clear? If any doubts, let me know. So the first point is, we are at this point in time, what we did is we want to reduce our code. So we used our convenience method. So here also you see in get array, you said unmodifiable list. Okay. Now coming to the original idea, that is whether we need to use this or we need to implement our own collection. Okay. Before I go to implementing our own collection, right? Let me just take one example alone. Let us take this map alone. Okay. We will go a little deeper into the how map internally, hash map internally works. So in hash map, okay, let me look at YouTube video. Let me see whether it comes. Okay, so this is a video that you can refer.
Yeah.
In fact, last time also I gave it, but I'll go to the.
In this video, we will see how hash map works in.
I will put just a crux of this, what he says. Okay, basically behind the screen there is a table being created. Every time you add an entity to a hash map, right? This will put into a bucket. The bucket, in order to put it to the bucket, which method of an object that we will use to find the correct bucket to store the element and retrieve the element effectively, which method of the object we will use? In Java lang object, there is a specific method which is used to calculate hash code. Yeah, hash code. Right?
Hash code, yes.
So internally, it uses hash code, so it will create a buckets, different buckets. Based on hash code, it will create it. So what the advantage that hash map will have is, every time you look for, say, for example, hash map that you put my name equal to so and so, my date of birth so and so. Next time you ask map.get. At that point in time, it will first try to calculate the hash code of the element. And once it calculates the hash code of the element, then it will go to the bucket, correct bucket, and then it will start the search. That is why your search will be faster. Otherwise, think of it without a hash code. You say, for example, you have 100 keys, you need to iterate through all the 100. That is going to be costly. So in order to mitigate that, it uses that. And there is a very specific collection for that. There is something called identity hash map. Okay, don't use it because sometimes they say that even the Java doc says it deviates the map in some cases, map contract in some cases, but it is useful when if you want to skip this hash code in some cases. When you will be skipping the hash code is sometime if you are sure that the keys that you put inside are same references. We talked about references sometime before, right? String means it will put in the constant pool. That time we talked about references. If you are sure that your keys are going to be same references. In fact, I tried it because in our case, our keys are same. So we use something called intern methods. We saw that in the previous session. So our keys are always coming from a same memory. So 2 keys, if you are giving name as a key, make sure it's confirmed that across the JSON, it's the same reference. Okay, but then there is a problem. That's why you don't use it. But just to keep a note, if you are using some memory efficient caching, internal caching or something, right? Try to use identity hash map. In that case, it will not use hash code. It will just call equal to, which will be even faster. But the point to be noted is there is a hash code being calculated to find the bucket. That's why it goes to the correct bucket. That is one thing that hash map does. Okay. Now coming to the reasons why I want to implement my own map to represent JSON object.
You need to put modulus also, Satish, onto the hash code, no? The mod of the capacity. Because it has to go from 0 to 15 or whatever you say, 1 to 16.
Correct.
So you need to take the hash code, which can be any number.
Correct. Yeah. Well,
And
yeah,
then you have to do a modulus. I mean, it's a modulus or logical operation, whatever you say.
Correct. Yeah. So, sorry, I missed it. Thanks, Vibhu. So basically, consider that there are a lot of buckets. Okay. How do you know that which bucket it is? There is, you take a hash code. Hash code may be a random number. It may be from 0 to 1000, but buckets may be only 4, right? So you will calculate that modulo function, that percentage function, where you say, okay, if I have 1000, modulo, say number of buckets is 4, then it will find the correct bucket. In fact, this is the same logic behind calculating your cluster nodes in Elasticsearch kind of clusters, right? Where you put in multiple node, right? It takes a hash code of the value, find the modulo, find the node. So basically consider that bucket is a generic algorithm where you find based on the buckets. Yeah, thanks, Vibhu. Yeah. So now let us go to the idea behind why I need to implement my own. Do I need to? First of all, we will see. I will put my reason, we will debate, and then we'll implement. So I want to make sure the storage is more optimized, one. And point number 2, I want to make sure it's not just about storage, right? It's also about reading it. Whenever you create a map, right? You are not just going to store it alone, right? You are going to do a read operation, get operation somewhere. So 2 things. One is when you put a map, so your write should be faster. That is one. And then when you get it, your read should be faster. So these are all the criteria. Now coming specific to JSON object, what are all the criteria that I can use? Okay. In previous sessions from Maibo, we know one thing. Typecasting is a costly memory operation. If say for example in JSON I want to get a string here, of course I can do get say for example I want to implement a method called getString. So how do I do? I want to get string means I'm going to say get, if I need this as a string, you need to typecast it. Typecasting is costly, so I want to avoid typecasting. That is one thing. So now 3 factors. Collection. They are not going to implement it completely. Idea. I will implement it maybe sometime later. I will show the implementation once it is done. But I will put the idea behind. So now we decided, okay, we are going to implement this. But there are 3 reasons. Point number 1. One thing that I can take advantage in JSON, always my keys are going to be strings, not just strings, same reference strings. So is there anything that I can take advantage? Of course, I can do something like identity hash map where I don't even need to go to hash code here. I can just go with equal to equal. That is one advantage that I can take. One. Point number 2. Values are always going to be 5 types alone. What are the 5 types that I can have in JSON map? Even though we say it contains string of object, but it's not going to be all the objects, right?
Satish, one question here. You mentioned like first a key or string, same reference. By same reference, you meaning like they are referring to same memory location?
Yes. If say, for example, you have a employee JSON, name is key, value something is there, you have thousands of JSON. There's no point of creating that name string always. So we will store it in memory. We will put it in constant pool. How you do that is every time you create a key, right? You call this method called .intern. You see here. You see this, right? This line.
Yeah.
Just make sure that if you have a key called name, right? Whether it is employee JSON, some other JSON you are retrieving from this JVM. If there is a name key that you are retrieving for a JSON, it is always coming from a same email.
Okay.
Okay.
Got it. Thank you.
So that is what I can take advantage of. That is one thing. And point number 2, values. Coming to the values. Values are not going to be just my object, your object, or something like that. The values are always going to be 5 types. What are the 5 types? Let us look at the read method.
It's a number,
Exactly.
Array, JSON or null.
Correct. So string, number, map, list, boolean or null. Null is anyway same references. We have no problem. But this is going to be only 5 types. Can I take advantage from that? That is one thing. The last advantage is, the last part that I want to take advantage is, okay, size is always fixed because I'm going to create a JSON from a JSON string means the size is going to be fixed. I'm not going to change the size. I'm not going to have update methods and all those stuff. So these are all the main thing that puts me thinking that, okay, why don't I actually create my own implementation of JSON object? Okay, that's one thing. Now we are implementing it. We'll see how we will implement it. I saw some limitations also. I was expecting something, it was not working in that way. That we'll see, but later we will see that at some other time. But there are some challenges also that I'm seeing when I'm implementing the methods, right? I put my intent already saying that my JSON object is not going to be any XYZ map. It is going to contain only string as a key, any object as a value. But somehow, I don't know whether this is how Java will behave. We need to check it. I need to check it. I'll check and confirm. But what I was expecting is, I was expecting something different here. Can anyone tell me what was my expectation and why I feel it is little tricky here?
You expect a string key.
Exactly. So this is what I was expecting, because I don't want anybody to call this contains key method with any objects, because once it's created, it should be always string, but somehow it is not coming. That I need to check why, because I looked at this implementation also. Very easy, control click, you will go to the implementation.
I think once the key is declared as string, we don't need to do this.
Or Satish, you have to assign here in a string and object here, line number 397 in the bracket.
Which one?
You copy paste same thing, the key and object here in the object, JSON object. They will create as a string.
I tried to change it as a string, but the Java compiler is complaining.
No, just one thing. Remove all the things, whatever you add, just override. Just change this line number the 397. The object JSON to string and object. They will create for you. I think so.
Which one? String and?
Yeah.
Make it string, is it?
Yeah. No, string object. Then JSON object. Not here. This is fine. Before here only. And then try to override what is coming.
See, Java implementation, the Java interface for map is always declaring it as object and not in term of key.
Correct. That's what I'm coming to.
Okay, so we'll have to give one for object itself.
Exactly. So
you can overload with string.
Correct. The problem is actually here in the contains key, right? Sometime when you define interface here, if you put it as K, then it will take it. But here it is put as object already. In the original map implementation, so instead of putting K here, it will put object here. Because of that, what is happening now is, even if you intend to do something like string and object, it will not allow it. Am I making sense? Correct?
Correct.
Okay, so, but that's okay. That is just an syntax related things. We can still live with it. That's just a convenience. But then we will.
I think you may overload it then.
Yeah. The whole idea is to keep the implementation as simple as possible. If needed, we can override it. So it's like, no, it's good to have in our specific case. In case if it is not available, we will not use it. So that's not a problem for us. Okay. So then we can put all this unnecessary methods as saying no, unsupported method. And one more thing that I was thinking, that since it's a read-only map, I was checking, is there anything like read-only map or unmodifiable map? For example, where we say unmodifiable. So I was trying to extend unmodifiable map, because in ours also going to be unmodifiable, right? But unfortunately, this unmodifiable map here, you cannot override. Why? Ours is also going to be unmodifiable map. So the original intent is, okay, instead of creating our own map, we'll say unmodifiable map. But we cannot do that. The reason being,
because it's a private.
it is private, so that I cannot do. Okay, so that I need to do on my own only. So I need to create it like this. Then there are entry sets, values, collections, and all those stuff. Now let me put the idea behind this also. What I'm going to do. Okay, the whole idea is, so three things that I mean. The main thing is I want to avoid typecasting, and I want to make sure the read is faster with all the convenient method, right? So I am going to create, instead of one bucket, we can create 5 buckets. What is the advantage, and why should we do that?
Distribution and operation will be fast.
Correct. Typecasting is no longer required because string means we'll put it in string bucket.
5 type of values, I think. Each one with a uniform array.
Correct. So there is no need for typecasting, one, and always everything is going to different buckets. By knowing the type, we will be able to search it a little faster also. We don't need typecasting. So that's the whole idea. And we will calculate these buckets right at the beginning, because we are, and this map is not going to be created by, for example, what is happening here is, if you look at original place, we actually do a map before that. From that JSON map only we calculate it. So it's always going to be coming from a map, another map. So what we can do is, we can put a private function, because private constructor, you don't have to instantiate this from outside, and you can accept implement methods just for resolving this compiler issues now that we'll do later. But the whole idea is, I will create a constructor which is private, because this JSON object, I don't want to expose it to unmodifiable. Final map in comma object, the original JSON map. I will make it as private. Now, what are the advantages that I can take from here by giving the map? I can design my size here, the array size. So if I put the array size as, for example, string array, string, then I have number array, number bucket, then I have Boolean array. Okay. Now coming to the null. How do I create null array? I cannot create, right? Can anyone help me with this?
You can use a void type, I think.
Void array also we cannot create, right?
Okay.
Is there any better memory optimized implementation?
Boolean array?
Object array of size 0.
Okay. Consider I'm going to contain string array or null. Can I still do that with this?
But this is the optimized one, because string you are creating a multiple object inside the class.
Very good. Now,
no, how does it matter? Null keys is only you are giving the name.
Consider this. Okay. Consider in your JSON, you have a null value, another null value as a key, which contains null. Just by storing the key that these are all the key that contain null values is sufficient for us, correct? Why should we keep storing null in multiple arrays? You don't need, right? All that you need is which are all the key that contains null in the JSON, correct?
Right.
Correct. So it's enough to just to store the key saying that these are all the value keys that has null values. This is going to be my storage mechanism. Okay. With this storage mechanism, we need to implement a map. That's the whole idea. And now coming to the list, do we need to override list? I don't think so, because what list provides, anyway, it's giving me with collection, unmodifiable collection, right? That is sufficient for us. We are not going to do anything extra. We are just going to store it as it is. So the idea that I have currently is just to use custom map implementation only for JSON object, nothing else. And that is going to follow this as a storage mechanism. This is the whole idea. So with this, I'll stop today. We will revisit this sometime later. Once I implement it, I will put what I observed is, did I get any better performance, that I will put later. So far, any doubts or anybody wants to change something here? Is there any problem in the idea? Please let me know. I will note down all the points, implement it, and come back with you. Come back to you with the changes. Thanks, guys. Any questions?
Probably.
Satish, one question I have.
Yeah.
Satish, one question I have. Like you mentioned previously, like we have to the key for number 1 point. The keys are string same reference always. So that if the key always will be string, and if you don't call the intern method, then it will not work.
No. If you don't call intern, consider from multiple JSON references that you're creating. JSON is ultimately class, right? This JSON is class. You can create 2 different classes also. It can go differently. So you want to make sure that it comes always from a constant pool.
Okay.
That's why we put it this way. Because we cannot restrict the consumer, right? Consumer can create more than 1 JSON objects. But we want to make sure in the JVM level itself, it is from a pool.
Okay.
We said while implementing this that 5 are types always, but we created only 4 types in method.
I think the array and the JSON again, another nested.
Correct. Yeah, excellent.
And array also.
Correct. There should be map, there should be list. Correct. Thanks. Yes. Good point. It was 5 because we did not consider null as a contender, since null is different.
Okay.
Anything from anyone? Please feel free to ask questions. Satish probably can share the GitHub link as well, where they can go and try out the
Yes.
parser for themselves.
Correct. Okay.
One
So
question I have.
Yes, go ahead, Ravindra.
So like getting an object is fine. Like we created 5 types of references here. What are we adding? While we are adding, then how do we taking care of those parts? Does it impact any performance there, or there no?
which part?
So that we can have a bucket to retrieve a data by specific type, whether it's string, number, or boolean. My question: when we are adding, or that time we have anything we have to think, or is not required only for the read?
Very good. In our case, in fact, it's a great question. I actually missed it. There is a 4th advantage. We never add. We just create once. It's immutable. Because we are creating it from a map, right? So we will not even support the put. We don't even need to support it. So we'll calculate everything at the beginning. It's right at the constructor. We'll calculate.
Yeah, that's why I thought.
Correct. Makes sense. Perfect. Yeah. So here is the original implementation. I will give it. So Priya will explain now. Develop is protected branch. Whatever work that I am doing in the quality gates branch. So this I'm putting it in the group. It is just one simple Java class. Don't consider JSON parser as a complex item. It's very simple basically. So I'll just put it here. Anybody can go and read it. It's a well documented code. So you can read it, understand it. I will keep making this collection implementation there. If you have any doubts there itself, you can put your comments there as a code review. I will incorporate that. Yeah. With that note, thanks a lot. So you are not stopped asking doubts even after the session. You can put your doubts to Savik. We will answer that in the next session. Or you can look at the code, give your comments. We will follow it. Thanks a lot, guys. Hope it was useful.
Thank you, Satish, for the wonderful